If you want more credit repair leads, if you want to close more credit repair clients, and you want to scale your credit repair business to $100,000 a month, then make sure to keep watching. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about not wasting your time with people who can't afford your services. I don't know about you, but I hate when I'm on the phone with someone. I go through the credit report, I build all the value, I educate them, I take my time, I'm not rushing the call. I feel like I've done everything that I need to do as a professional to make the sale, right? Not only to make the sale, but to educate the consumer and let them know that I care and we genuinely want to help. But at the end of the call, think about it. And I know this has happened to you before. 30 minutes into the call, 45 minutes into the call, maybe even an hour. Some of you are on the phone for an hour and a half, which is way too long. But if you're on the call for that long, you're expecting to make the sale. Like, why would the person not buy? At some point, you're thinking, okay, they could have backed out. But you're already, again, 30, 45 minutes, an hour into the call, and this is what happens. That person says, I can't afford your services. Or they say, I don't have any money. I'm broke. I lost my job 2 weeks ago. And meanwhile, you're like, you couldn't tell me this an hour ago? You know, they're not going to tell you because, unfortunately, buyers are liars. They wanted to hear your pitch. Some of these people just wanted to hear the price, and that's it. That's all they wanted. They really didn't have any intentions on signing up. So how do you avoid that? This is a solution. This is what we're going to help you with today. So I want you to watch this video, take notes, and this is a time when you need to take notes because I'm about to give you the question that's going to help eliminate exactly what I just said. So if you really want to stop wasting your time and spend more time with qualified leads, make sure you add this question to your arsenal of pre-qualifying questions. In our program, in our mentoring, we call it fact-finding mastery questions. These are the questions that we teach you to ask in the beginning of the call so you don't waste your time at the end of the call trying to backpedal and save the deal. So it's going to sound something like this. When you pick up the phone, let's start from the very, very beginning, right? Let's pull back the curtain. Hey, Mrs. Jones, this is Robert from Quick Tax and Credit. Hey, tell me a little bit more about what's going on with your credit situation. Mrs. Jones tells you, hey, I got a collection, I got late payments, I got a repossession, whatever's going on with Mrs. Jones' credit. At some point, what you want to ask is very simple. Well, Mrs. Jones, are you currently 30, 60, or 90 days behind on any of your bills? Why is that an important question to ask? Because at the end of the day, if Mrs. Jones, if she can't afford to keep up with her own bills that she's currently paying on, how can you expect her to afford your credit repair services? Regardless if you're a credit repair company that charges $300 down and $99 a month, or you might be a credit repair company that charges $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. That's irrelevant. Because if Mrs. Jones can't keep up with her own bills, it doesn't matter how great your services are. It doesn't matter how low or how high your price is. She's drowning financially right now. And that, just by you asking that question, that's going to eliminate the nightmare, the headache, the waste of time of going through the credit report. If you're anything like me, you're going to be an educator. You're taking your time to educate Mrs. Jones on credit and why her credit is messed up, what she could do to improve it. That conversation takes time. So again, 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes even an hour into the call for Mrs. Jones to tell you that she doesn't have a job or doesn't even have money to pay for your services, that's aggravating. It's super aggravating because 30 minutes into the call, you're like, okay, this is a deal. I'm going to close this deal. Mrs. Jones don't got no money. Well, whose fault is that? It's your fault. You got to look yourself in the mirror because Mrs. Jones is not going to tell you she doesn't have any money, but a great salesperson, because what I'm teaching you guys to do is to operate at an elite level. Some of you watching this might be a good salesperson. I don't want you to be good. I want you to operate at an elite level, like a professional athlete. What do? They practice every single day. So this is a channel where you watch to sharpen your skills so you can close more deals, so you can learn how to market. We teach you everything that you need to do in order to grow and scale your credit repair business. All right, back to what we were talking about. So when you ask that question, let's dive a little deeper real quick. Mrs. Jones, are you 30, 60, or 90 days behind on any of your bills? Let's pretend that she says, yes, I am 60 days behind on my car payment. Well, think about it. The average car payment, and you can even ask her, well, hey, Mrs., how much is your car payment? Let's say Mrs. Jones says it's $500, because that's the average car payment nowadays is about $400 or $500 easy. So if Mrs. Jones's car payment is $500 and she's 60 days behind, 2 months, that means she has to come up with about $1,000 in order for her to get caught back up. Does Mrs. Jones have that $1,000? I don't know. Let's ask her. So now that she tells you, she reveals to you, hey, well, I'm 60 days behind on my car payment. The next follow-up question that you should be asking is, well, hey, I'm sorry to hear that, but when do you think you'll be able to get caught back up on your car payment? Why is that question important? Because number one, you need to know as a professional, if you don't already know this, as you're working on removing the negative items, if Mrs. Jones doesn't get caught back up very quickly, she's going to continuously add new late payments on to the credit report, which is what? Keep her credit score low, and it's going to just add more work for you. So now you and your company are just spinning your wheels with Mrs. Jones's credit report, and now she's not seeing any kind of progress. And if you do end up signing her up, she might be a nightmare client saying, your credit repair program doesn't work, my scores aren't going up. Meanwhile, it's nothing you're doing. It's her fault because she hasn't gotten caught back up yet. This is why you need to be honest and transparent and always operate with good morals and ethics. And most importantly, ask the right questions. That's what I'm teaching you to do right now for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't want you wasting your time. I want you spending more time with qualified people rather than people who can't afford your services and who are not qualified. You're only going to do that by mastering, that's why we call it fact-finding mastery questions. So you have to master certain questions, and I want you to ask these questions within the first 5 minutes of the call. So when you go through our coaching program, we're going to teach you within the first 5 to 10 minutes how to determine whether this is a person that can actually afford your services, if they're a decision maker, and if they want to move forward, so you can stop wasting your time with people that are broke or just not ready to make a decision to move forward. Or maybe you got to find out where they're the decision maker. But today we're talking about just asking the right question to see if they have money. Hey, again, let's go back, repeat. Mrs. Jones, do you have any accounts where you're 30, 60, or 90 days behind on? And let's kind of role play real quick. Let's kind of give a different scenario. Let's say Mrs. Jones says, yes, I'm 60 days behind on my car payment. Well, how much is your car payment, Mrs. Jones? And then she said, oh, it's $500. Well, if it's $500, you're 2 months behind. That's about $1,000 plus late fees and stuff. When do you think you'll be able to get caught back up on that car payment? And let's just say let's pretend, right? She says, oh, well, next week, because I'm getting a bonus from my job and I'll be able to get caught back up on that car payment. Awesome. The reason why I'm explaining this to you or asking you this question, Mrs. Jones, is because what I don't want to happen is you sign up for our credit repair services and then you're adding more late payments on, because then you're going to feel like we're spinning our wheels and you're not going to see the advantage that we're going to give you with your credit. You're not going to see that progress. Does that make sense, Mrs. Jones? And notice how I asked. Does that make sense, Mrs. Jones? Because you guys want to make sure that you're on the same page and she actually understands what you're talking about, right? Another thing is when you're asking that question, it's also, you want her to know that you are a good person, that you're operating with good morals and ethics. You're not just trying to force your services down her throat and say, sign me up, right? So that's very, very important. Guys, it's it's imperative that you add this into your arsenal of questions, because again, it's going to eliminate you wasting your time with people who cannot afford your services. Just stop real quick and think about how many times this has happened to you, where at the end of the call, they're like, well, I don't have any money. By adding this one question, just this one question, and I got more questions for you, and we'll talk about that on different videos. But, again, just by adding this one question, it's going to save you so much time. Now, if you use this question and it works for you, and I guarantee you it will, do me a favor. Make sure you come back to this video, give me a like, give me a comment and say, hey, I used it, it worked. I want to hear from you guys, okay? Listen, if you're serious about scaling and growing your credit repair company, go to robthecreditguy.com. You'll see all of our testimonials from all of our other mentees. I got mentees that are hitting $100,000 a month. I got mentees that are doing $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. We teach you how to grow and scale your business. We don't just teach you how to sell. We teach you how to market. We teach you how to brand. We teach you the SOPs, everything that you need to do. Matter of fact, we even help you hire employees so you can have a salesperson, a customer service person, or an appointment setter. Whatever it is that you need, we cover all of that in our coaching and mentoring program. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, drop it below. And again, just go to robthecreditguy.com. See you guys next time. Let's go.